You've probably heard the phrase, the medium is the message, but have you ever considered that you might actually be the medium carrying the message? When God wanted to deliver a message to the world, the medium he used was Jesus, God incarnate, God in the flesh, full of grace and truth, living among us and communicating God himself in everything he did. When Jesus wanted to communicate the message, he used the apostles and the rest of the disciples, filled with the Holy Spirit at Pentecost and sent out into the world to deliver the message, not just in words, but by how they lived every aspect of their lives among those around them. And today, it's us, you and me, far more than anything else, who are the medium God uses to deliver his message to the world about Jesus. So what does this have to do with serving together? Well, part of what we do as Christians is serve others, especially in the Salvation Army. After all, we're saved to serve, aren't we? But what if that service isn't just for others, but alongside others? If we look at Jesus' example, he didn't just do things for others, he did things with others, inviting them to participate in what he was doing and discover more about him in the process. Whether it was servants filling jars with water, a woman getting him a drink, mourners removing a gravestone, or a boy sharing lunch and then his disciples distributing it, Jesus' involvement of others regularly led to far greater learning experiences for them than if he'd just tried to tell the truth about himself, instead of getting them to serve together with him and make those discoveries for themselves. It's in our acts of service that we most often reveal the impact of our faith in our lives. We do things that others often wouldn't, and with a grace they couldn't show because they don't have God's Holy Spirit living and working in them. That's why when the Soviet Union was formed, they banned anybody other than the state from offering assistance to those in need. They knew that if they stopped Christians serving, they would take away what was one of the most powerful ways of demonstrating the gospel. They intentionally sought to stop the church being salt and light in the world. After all, as James said in his New Testament letter, what good is it if you say you have faith but do not have works? Faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. It's in our works, our acts of service, that we show people what and whose business we're about. Inviting others along on that journey opens up the possibility of all sorts of conversation and exploration of motive and spirituality and faith in a way that just doesn't quite seem to happen when we're not serving alongside each other. It's a classic observation that if you want to get two men talking, get them to do a job together and the conversation will flow in a way that it never would otherwise. But it's equally true for women that if you're investing together in something of worth and benefit for others, the conversation will flow differently to how it would in what might be called a normal conversation. Serving together opens conversational doors that nothing else can, not least because it demonstrates your view that the person or people you're working with have a valuable contribution to make as well, and not just you alone. When people serve together, they experience connection and purpose, and are reminded that life is not just about them, but it's far bigger and broader. Of course, if we're just trying to do this in our own strength, we probably won't get very far. Dependence on the Holy Spirit is essential for every believer trying to make a difference in the world. And if we want to show an attractive gospel through serving with others, we need to keep ourselves firmly rooted and grounded in the source of the life that we want to share with others. When we're dependent on Christ, relying on him to help us to be salt and light, we can really begin to look for opportunities to serve with others, choosing the right opportunities, casting the vision, making the invitations, and obviously praying before we begin. When we're serving with others or inviting others to serve with us, there are a few things that will help make it a positive experience for us all. We need to ensure that everyone has meaningful involvement, paying attention to their gifts, abilities and skills. We need to be engaged in continuous prayer, After all, the enemy certainly doesn't want us to succeed in attracting others and bringing transformation to the world and the people around us. So we also need to be spiritually aware of what's going on around about us and respond appropriately. We need to do what we are doing as well as possible. After all, when people serve, they want to know that what they've contributed to is something of quality that they can be proud of being involved with, rather than something that hasn't achieved its purpose or was poorly executed. And finally, we need to be ready to offer those appropriate answers when people ask us questions about what we do and why we do it. After serving together, it can be helpful to debrief and to find out how things went for those involved. There are some helpful questions for that reflection process written below. Serving together is a great equaliser and has the potential to raise curiosity about what makes a Christian's life different. As we serve alongside people who don't yet know Jesus, they get to experience the difference that Jesus has made in our lives. By God's grace, they'll see his character shining through us. What an impact we could have if our salt made people thirsty and our light made people look. Lord, let it be so. So here are a couple of questions. How might the act of serving together have helped Jesus' disciples come to the right conclusion about who he was? What's the most fruitful active service that you have ever been a part of? What made it rewarding? What did it teach you about God? And here's some practice. Over the next few weeks, identify a need in your own local community, neighbourhood, or workplace that you and people you know can meet together. Pray for one or two other Christians to join you, and pray for God to show you a few people who believe differently to you, who could help you as well. After you've served together in this way, reflect on what impact meeting the need has on those relationships and on your own faith as well. God bless.